All right, guys, so we're going to go over our starter questions from last week. This was Thursday's first question. It says the teacher listed the following two processes. Process one, water changing to ice in a freezer. So when I'm answering this question, I would stop right there and just look at process one for each one. Which answer options match water changing to ice in a freezer? So I'm starting with water, so I know I'm going to have to start with liquid, so I can automatically eliminate any of the options for process one that does not start with liquid. A starts with liquid, B starts with liquid, C does, and D, so I can't eliminate any yet. But process one does tell me that water changes to ice in a freezer, so I need to know that water going to ice is liquid going to solid. So in A, process one is not going from water to solid, so I can eliminate that option. For B, process one is liquid going to gas. We need a solid, remember, so we can mark out B. Same thing for C, we can mark it out. It has process one as liquid going to gas. So already I know D is going to be my answer, but let's just double check ourselves for process two. Process two says steam coming out of a kettle filled with hot water. So my kettle is filled with hot water. So I know that's going to be a liquid. So I'm starting with liquid. Let's check processes two. All of them start with liquid except C. So C is totally eliminated. And a liquid going to steam is liquid going to gas. So A does have liquid going to gas, but remember process one was incorrect. So it cannot be correct. Same thing with B, liquid going to solid. That's not showing me water going to steam. So D should have been my answer. All right, and this was number two. If heat is absorbed by water, what phase change occurs? So I'm starting with water, so I need to look at the options that start with liquid. A starts with gas, so I can go ahead and eliminate A. D starts with solid. I can go ahead and eliminate that. Okay, the rest of the question's really easy. You're just thinking about water absorbing heat. So what phase change occurs if I have water and I add heat? That's a liquid to a gas. So your answer should have been B. Okay, this is question number one for Friday. It says, select the correct statement to describe when a sample of water vapor condenses into liquid water. Excuse me, sorry. So we're starting with water, and it's wanting us to say when we have water vapor and it condenses into liquid water, so I have a gas and it's going to a liquid. What process happens? Okay, so if I have gas and I'm going to liquid, what does temperature have to do? It has to decrease. Okay, so let's start with that. Is any of these not showing temperature decreases? So A is good, B is good, C says temperature increases, so I can eliminate C already. Okay, so C is eliminated. And now let's look at our molecular motion. So if I'm going from a gas to a liquid, think about the particles in a gas. They're moving really fast. The particles in a liquid are a little bit slower. So my molecular motion is going to have to decrease. So B says increase, so I can eliminate B. And D has molecular motion increasing, so I can eliminate D as well. Okay. And let's just check the rest of them. Volume decreases, that is true. Remember, gas is more spread out, so it's going to have a little greater volume. It will take up more space. And the shape becomes more defined. That is true as well. So your answer should have been A. Okay, and this is the last question for this week's starters. This was Friday number 2. It says, what is the relationship between the internal energy of a substance and its state of matter? So this was just basically saying which of these statements is true. So let's look at A. As gas loses internal energy, it becomes a plasma. So if gas loses energy, it becomes a liquid, not a plasma. Remember, we have to add heat to gas to get it to plasma. So we can eliminate A. And guys, this is exactly on test on these starters how I would answer it. Go one at a time and mark the ones out that you know it can't be. B, closer packed atoms generally have more internal energy. So let's just look. Solid has closer packed atoms than either one, liquid or gas. Do we have more energy in a solid? Absolutely not. Remember, a solid has the lowest energy. Those particles are just vibrating in place. They're not moving around much at all. And then C, as the internal energy decreases, a substance will spread farther. Okay, so what that's saying is if I have less energy, my particles are going to spread further apart. That is absolutely not true as well. Remember, if I add energy, then my particles spread far apart. If I decrease energy, it's like saying I'm going from a liquid to a solid. That's decreasing energy, so my particles are getting closer together. So D, let's just make sure it's true. As the internal energy increases, a substance will go from a solid to a liquid. That's true. If I add heat or energy to the solid, the particles will spread apart and become a liquid. Okay. All right, that's it for this week's starters, guys. Thank you.